I didn't even know if I was going to make this a topic. But you see the two defensive linemen from the Washington football team get into their little kerfuffle, their little spat, right?
Former Alabama players, both of them.
Yeah, Saban's boys. One puts his finger in the face of the other. Then obviously he swings on him.
Give
Doesn't
him a
connect.
haymaker.
Huh?
Haymaker.
Haymaker doesn't fully connect, but gave him the whole, hey, bro, not that kind of party. You're not gonna embarrass me like that on national TV.
Well, get your hand out of my face.
Yeah, and so before we get into that though, let me tell you what pissed me off about watching it live. Was Chris Collinsworth going, Al, that right there is embarrassing right there. That is extremely embarrassing. That's happening on the NFL sideline. Then you hear a bunch of other NFL players come out and say, Shannon Sharps of the world, the one I can remember. There's a lot of stuff that happens on NFL sidelines that y'all used to didn't see. Now there's just so many cameras that you're going to see it. And there's so much stuff that happens behind the scenes in the locker room in practice that y'all will never see. But players fight. And I mean, we see it all the time in training camp. But players fight coaches. Coaches get into it. It's a bunch of alpha males, a bunch of testosterone around each other. And Nick Wright had a great point. He was said, and no workplace is that ever acceptable. Like if you ever poke somebody in the side of the head like that in any workplace, you should expect for them to still off on you.
No, that those are big facts. But just like Shannon kind of said too, I mean, that stuff happens. Like, I mean, I can't, go but too far back, but even in high school, I mean, that shit was happening in high school. Now, I don't know about anyone putting their hand in somebody's face and actually, like, poking them, basically. But even I can remember that I've had heated practices before where, we would get into a fight. Like it would be kind of like a fight, and then coach would have everybody get off and we'd be running suicides or whatever. But so that, to me, that shit does happen. And the fact that there are so many cameras, it's going to be hard to not, see it now, like, right. Especially for pros. But you would think, I mean, it's frustrating to lose, and they knew they had no chance this season. And I don't know, but they didn't. And that's why they got their ass kicked by the Cowboys. And that's why when we were talking with Major Parlay, obviously him being a DC native, he's talking about how bad the Falcons got beat by the Cowboys. And it's just like, well, damn, you guys got whooped even worse. You gave up more points. And this is a rivalry game. Matter of fact, this is arguably y'all's biggest rival. And you're getting beat like this on national TV. So, tempers flare. Guys get pissed. But guess what? Nobody's going to be pissed enough unless that direct deposit doesn't hit. And I promise you that the direct deposit hit. And so that's really what matters.
Yeah, it is a business. And like we said, you're a man first, and certain things just aren't acceptable. But I think the true fight in Washington before, obviously the fight with the owner, that's the one who should get beat up. But the true fight should be with the personnel staff for thinking that bringing back Taylor Heineke and bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to get them a division title.
Well, as if they didn't mediocre their way into one last year because of how bad the division was, and then the state of the NFL with COVID and stuff, like as if that wasn't part of the reason why they made the playoffs to begin with.
Right, but let's not dwell on this terrible team anymore because they're bad.
Yeah, it's a bad football team. They should be called the bad football team. Not the Washington football team.
You know what? We should pitch that. What's his name? Schneider?
Yeah, he might. Shit, half the nation would agree.
Yeah,